How do they move dirt and build infrastructure across Dubai and the United Arab Emirates? In this multi-day construction and machinery adventure featuring the fine folks at Al Marwan Group, you're about to find out. I fell in love with this part of the world during my first visit to Saudi Arabia in 2019. During my last visit in 2023, we visited mining operations in Jordan, stopped by Petra, and then toured some of the world's biggest projects across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But before I scurried back to America, I stopped by arguably the most famous city in all the Middle East, Dubai. I'd visited as a tourist once before, but I dedicated my 2023 trip to meeting Al Marwan, a leading equipment, construction, and real estate development company based in the UAE. For lack of a better term, I was gobsmacked. The work and scale of machinery were astounding. Dubai is especially fascinating, as it was a simple Persian Gulf desert fishing village only in the 1960s. Everything changed, though, with the discovery and subsequent acceleration of oil production, which gave Dubai and the surrounding Emirates access to entirely new investment opportunities. And rather than squander their wealth, they plowed it into some of the most aggressive urban development the world has ever seen. Most of the area is new, having risen from the former sand dunes within the past few decades. That means construction here is booming, with over 25% of the world's tower cranes operating here at peak times. The investment has resulted in some of the most famous developments worldwide, including the Burj Al Arab, the Palm Islands, and the Burj Khalifa, also known as the world's tallest tower.
What? You see the big building?
Look.
Hey, did you notice that?
It's the Eiffel Tower.
If you build it, they will come, and the world certainly has arrived. The wealth here is extraordinary. One little example, cars. Sure, you can spot some of the world's most expensive cars on any street corner in town, and we did. But the bigger flex, the license plates, which sometimes cost more than the supercars they represent. And after Wyatt learned this, he watched for these lower number plates like a hawk. As always, before we could get to the bulldozers and experience the culture, we first had to get there. The UAE is about 8,000 miles or 7.3 million standard bananas from our Nashville, Tennessee HQ. Ben and I flew to New Jersey, which is where we linked up with Wyatt for the 13-hour flight across the pond.
Hey, buddy.
And while we were waiting, we had a proper New Jersey welcome.
It's just a Jersey thing.
The time change meant we'd attempt to stay up for the entire flight. Coffee and monkey business were in ample supply.
Got some tips. What's up, buddy? Let's do this.
However, this was my last cup of hot bean water, as I decided the best time for a coffee detox was on an international trip halfway around the world with little sleep. Arriving around 9 p.m., I hit the gym while Ben and Wyatt cruised the streets to get their first taste of UAE culture. We got there on Saturday by design. When planning our trip, I noticed that the final F1 race of 2025 in Abu Dhabi was scheduled for the same weekend. After calling my daddy to use his credit card for a ticket, I enjoyed my first Formula One experience. That was until Max lost. Ben and Wyatt had other plans, arranging a local dune buggy and camel experience. If you work for our insurance company, please ignore this part of the video.
Yeah, nice and tight. Okay.
Now let's get to business. We awoke on Monday morning and met Abdul, the marketing creative lead for Al Marwan Group, who would be our guide for the week. Our first stop, UAE's first major casino project. Rising above the coast of Ras Al Khaimah, this multi-billion-dollar resort will include hotels, entertainment, and, as previously mentioned, the country's first regulated casino. What makes this project unique is the gaming and alcohol itself, which are only allowed within licensed environments. It's another example of how the UAE is opening spaces to global tourism while still maintaining its broader laws and traditions. And the casino project is only the beginning. Such an enormous development requires entirely new infrastructure, which is what Al Marwan Construct is doing, building new roads, utilities, and other infrastructure to service the area. Their scope of work includes an entirely new ring road, large bridges, utilities of both large and small diameters, and landscaping, totaling approximately 483 million AED, or about 130 million USD. The full program spans around 40 kilometers or 25 miles, with 2 to 3 lanes in each direction, and is engineered for up to 100,000 vehicles per day. Arriving on site mid-morning, we wasted no time doing what we do best.
It's blurry. It's all blurry.
Let me get a shot of you getting a shot.
This is gone.
I can already tell that was a terrible shot.
Whenever you're ready. Let me yawn. Hello everybody, Act 1, Day 1, UAE vlog series here with Al Marwan. As I explained, we are building a road here for the nearby casino. This operation specifically, before we get to some of the bulk of the operations though, we've got 2 Volvo 550s loading these trucks. This is all material that's been stockpiled here. It's nice and loose, it's pretty sandy. They're loading these trucks. These trucks are then hauling that to wherever it needs to go. So that's what's going on here. Basic, dig it, fill it, haul it, put it, bingo bag it. As with any other construction project, before surface construction begins, everything underground must be completed. The sewer line here is one of the largest I've ever seen. And since it's a sewer, which flows by gravity, it's about 9 meters or 30 feet deep. For those unfamiliar with utilities, that is deep. So deep, in fact, that standard machines won't do. Fortunately, Al Marwan has the tool for the job. A custom Caterpillar 395 long-reach excavator. With a digging depth of 22 meters and a boom length of 18.3 meters, this machine can reach anything, anywhere. Let's check it out up close. This project is not just a road, it's also the underground infrastructure. When you increase the population in any given area, you need more power, you need more water, and you need more sewer, because there's more people pooping. And that's what this is right here. They have opened up one heck of a trench. It is all in sand. So everything you can see here in the drone shot, it's all shored up. They have to have that shoring there or else the trench is just gonna collapse in. They cannot have that as workers are going in there. They're putting in enormous fiberglass pipe. It's all strung out up there. They're using that Cabelco crane to place those pieces of pipe. And then every so often they have these enormous manholes. Now these manholes, they're way too big for precast. They're all cast in place. And that's why this whole area is still opened up here. They still have to cast more of this manhole up to grade before they can backfill, compact, get all the shoring out of there, and no one will ever see it again. We're holding up work, Wyatt. Yeah, what else is new? Quickly say, right next to us, those big water tanks right below, right? I can't talk today. Right next to us, behind that DA, big water tanks, that's all drinking water. That's a desalinization plant. A majority of the water here in UAE is all pulled from the ocean, desalinized for drinking. That is a 395 Caterpillar long reach, custom made by Al Marwan. That's the first time I've seen a long reach doing pipe work before, but that machine is here for good reason because this is extremely deep. That's the thing about sewer is it's on gravity. It has to flow. And so that's why you get really, really deep projects here. This excavator right now is digging for one of the manholes. The manholes are spaced out every so often. They're cast in place. They're enormous since the pipe is so big. But before they can pour that concrete, they've got to establish a working area. The problem here is the material, the sand, is very, very soft. It's just gonna slough in, slough in, slough in. So they're using this slide rail shoring here. They're putting these pillars in perpendicular to the trench, and then they're sliding the panels in between so that the sand can rest up against there while keeping that trench open during the work. And then after the work is completed, they can pull that out, they can backfill, and no one's the wiser. We may be in the desert, but we're close to water. Those blue pipes that are also perpendicular to the pipe they're installing, they are driven into the ground, and then they have another pipe within there that's all the way down there. They're all connected to pumps. That's for dewatering. So they're constantly pumping water out. You can see the water going through, actually. It's clear pipe, which is pretty neat. It's pulling water out constantly. So those guys at the bottom there, they're not in any danger. There's no water there. They can get the job done. And then once everything's installed, they'll pull that out. They'll let the groundwater resume. That's a big girl. Here's the pipe right here. I could walk through it, obviously. It is a resin type pipe. It's actually quite interesting. Bell and spigot. One end fits into the other. This will be the next piece of pipe going in there. It takes a lot of time though to dig out that much volume with that deep. That machine not only has to dig that trench out, stockpile the material next to the trench, but also build that shoring. That is what they're doing right now. So they've got a lot of building left before this piece of pipe will go in the ground, but this is next up. It's a big pipe. I love big pipe. While we stood in awe of the machine at work, we got to see a little operator magic. Instead of having someone harness up and go out onto the top of the panel to unhook it, the operator was so skilled that he was able to unhook the panel from the cab. Oh yeah, he got one. Now for number two. Oh yes, yeah. 2 for 2, baby.
Easy.
Nice.
That guy, great operator.
Well done. You'll also notice on this machine the undercarriage is a little bit bigger because when you have that much weight hanging off that machine at distance, you want a little bit more there for the sake of stability. So this has also received a modification on the back. You can see the counterweight's a little further out. So it's not just a 395 with a longer boom and stick. They've done the undercarriage work, they've done the counterweight work to maintain that stability even while he's all the way out here. Following the utility work, we drove to the other side of the project where Almar 1 had several machines grading for the new highway alignment, leading to a massive new bridge over the water. From here, we could really gauge the stature of the new casino. After not gambling, we drove to lunch and enjoyed some authentic cuisine. On the way over, we even got a little closer to our license plate goal.
Oh, that's cool.
After lunch, we headed to our second job site of the day, located east of Sharjah. It was a bit of a drive, but fortunately, my coffee detox had me alert enough to enjoy it the whole way. We then arrived at the next high-value construction project, which involved a new lagoon, roads, and a massive new bridge constructed by Almar 1. Coming in at 446 million AED, or about 120 million USD, the project will provide the nearby communities with a new source of drinking water. Let's begin with the lagoon excavation. Okay, everybody, the theme of these videos is desert, is dust, is nice machinery. We are keeping with the theme here, of course. We're now back in Sharjah where we're staying. It's one of the Emirates. We were at the casino this morning. This is another project Almar 1 is doing with some Almar 1 machinery. We've got another Volvo 550 because they grow on trees around here, and then a fleet of A40 trucks. Some of these are brand new, like the one that's getting loaded right there, like that one, like that one. They're the first next-gen trucks that I've seen. So Almar 1's been excavating this out. This is the last little bit here with this 550. They've hauled a ton of material out of here, and then in just a few months' time, this will be filled with water, and it'll look very nice. After getting our boots even more dusty in the soon-to-be-filled lagoon, we drove to the other side of the project where a huge concrete pour was happening for the new bridge. It was awesome. And even better, it happened as the sun was setting over the desert, making for some of the prettiest light we enjoyed all year. To finish today off is an awesome project. Hi. Yeah, American. Or just the silly Americans around here. But I'm happy to play my part. I'd play it well, right? All right, to finish this day off is a banger. This is a bridge over the area that we saw earlier where the new lagoon will be. So water will be under here, but if there's water here, traffic can't get through, hence the new bridge. Because this is a flood area, that sheet piling all the way around is to protect this area in case of flash flooding. So that's what that sheet piling is for. Once they are done with the bridge, water can flow through here. They'll pull the sheet piling out, bingo bango. This bridge, it's all cast in place, which requires a ton of work. Traditionally, a lot of bridges in America, you'll drill your piers, you'll pour a cap atop those piers, you'll lay girders, and then you'll pour your deck across your girders. This bridge, however, is all cast and poured in place. So first step, as you can see here, The false work has to be brought up from the ground with all of that steel reinforcement, and then atop the false work, they can start to put the formwork. So you can see there, the formwork follows these curves here. There's two bridges next to each other, one side for one way, the other side for the other way. Once the formwork is in place, the rebar guys can come through here, the rod busters, and put all of the reinforcing steel. Concrete is strong under compression, weak under tension. And in a bridge, in a concrete structure, you have these tensile forces pulling the concrete every which way. That steel is all there to keep the concrete where it should be. And once the steel is in place, which as you can see, is a lot, the final step commences. The concrete pour. There are two Almar 1 pump trucks. We've got Almar 1 ready mix trucks backing in, pouring the concrete in the back of the truck. The pumps are pumping up to these guys here. The operators, they've got their remote control to get those pumps exactly where they need to be. And then we've got a huge crew of guys here. They've been working all day to pour the bottom. So you can see the bottom getting filled out. They're finishing all the way down before they can pour the main structure of the bridge. They've got to pour that floor. Then they'll form the girders, which is the strength of the bridge, and then they'll come through and put a deck over this. So all of this is the bones, the muscles of the bridge. No one will see any of this once it's complete. There'll just be a road deck on top, but it takes a ton of work to make this happen.
So here we have all these people trying to get their job done. And there's Wyatt in the way.
We stayed here with the crews until evening prayer. While unusual to us Americans, it occurs on every job site in the Middle East every day. I first saw it in Saudi Arabia with a group of D11 operators, and I have deeply appreciated it ever since. Returning to our hotel after dark, we'd worked up an appetite after hours of watching hardworking people build stuff. So we hit the restaurant for some mixed grill, which is my favorite Middle Eastern dish.
Never quit in time.
Don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done.
After overeating some mixed grill, we rested up for day 2, which called for driving a lot further into the desert. And further meant an earlier start.
But laundry takes 24 hours. So this shirt I'm going to be wearing again tomorrow.
The perk of an early morning is always a beautiful sunrise, and then we stopped at a gas station for local food and beverages. Ben and Wyatt were on the coffee train, but I enjoyed a protein shake as I still thought this was the right week to chase caffeine from my system. On the way out of town, there were many more cranes and buildings, followed by a lot of sand. When we finally arrived at the pin drop, we were in for a little bit of a surprise.
Right. So to fill everybody in on today, we just drove 3 hours into the desert. This is the pin that we were given for machines. So the machines should be there.
After a lack of machines at the first pin, we headed to the next. This time, we were getting a little closer.
Okay. Safety induction time.
Safe as can be. Which one's the real Aaron? We'll never know. Dun dun dun.
This is like an assault fire extinguisher.
For the real fire.
Pistol grip and everything.
The assault extinguisher.
If you see any snakes, bit by a snake. You need to catch it.
You need to catch it. That's right.
I'm pretty positive, like that's not what you're supposed to do.
Before the action, we had to complete our safety induction, which was very similar to the others that we do.
You big fans?
On the border.
This is it here.
Okay, so we're making progress. 4 hours in, and we have a location that might have machines.
No, it not might.
Okay, all right. Okay, well,
With a good side, as he said, very good scenery or whatever he said. You don't understand.
I want some good desert scenery, but it looks like we've got it wrong here.
Despite our introduction to a slappin' new genre, we listened to our own mix on the way to where we hoped machines were working.
We found everybody, machines, there's a truck, there's a loader, there's an excavator, there's a truck, there's an excavator, there's an excavator, there's a truck, there's a truck, truck, and here's some sand
I don't like sand.
for them to move.
We weren't only excited about the machines, but we were extra stoked to shoot with drones on this trip, as restrictions had gotten the best of us during my previous 3 visits out here.
At a rail project. It is a very, very long project, a linear project. They're building up a very narrow strip to put that rail atop it. And this is one of the many operations all the way down the corridor to make that happen. This is a borrow pit here, so they are borrowing material to then bring over to that rail line to build it up. We've got a few excavators, a loader. There's another excavator down there loading these Al Marwan trucks. Pretty standard operation, dig it, place it over there. The interesting thing is, I love the desert. It's very unique because it's all sand. It's exactly as sandy as you'd expect it to be. So these trucks, they don't have the typical all-terrain tires on them. They have sand tires. If you look very carefully, you'll notice the tread is substantially different, and there's a lot more surface area for each one of those tires. A lot of the operations out here use traditional trucks. Out here, they're using these 6x6 articulated trucks because you need the 6x6 to get through the sand, and then those sand tires distribute that weight over the sand to allow those trucks to cruise through to that fill area without getting bogged. And anything else but those trucks would be bogged like that. It's just straight sand. The whole road, there's nothing to it. There's nothing you can build it up with. It's just sand, and they have to make it work. So they're loading sand, they're driving on sand, they're placing sand. It's a very sandy day.
For context, this project is part of a new national rail network that will transform regional transport in the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC. Spanning coast to coast, it will carry both passengers and freight thanks to a standardized system. Before any track snakes across the desert, extensive earthworks are underway to provide the straightest alignment possible for speed and efficiency. The sand excavated and hauled from the nearby borrow pits ends up in engineered fills, which other machines compact to meet design specifications. Of course, Wyatt was busy slowing everyone down by clamping his camera in weird places. After Clampy got a workout, it was time for our drive back to Sharjah. But before we headed back, Abdul took us to a local place in town for more mixed grill. No tables, no problem. The following morning, after a quick coffee stop for Ben and Wyatt, it was time for a lively drive to our next project.
Yeah, that was my pre-run snack this morning.
Yeah.
Dates.
Dates, yeah.
Dates.
Yeah, they're pretty good, right? The stuffed ones?
Yeah, go.
There's definitely a... Ah, here we go.
Whoa!
It is not a puzzle. It's
That's
dates.
hospitality.
I'm a sucker for dates.
Then why can't he get one? Oh, God.
All right, we'll be doing your performance review.
Yeah, you can just drop him off at that dumpster.
While being roasted by a soon-to-be ex-employee, we saw the most expensive vehicle of the trip.
There we go. 32 on a Land Cruiser.
This is a residential subdivision, or will be a subdivision. There's a whole subdivision over there. That was phase 1 that we drove through to get here. It's enormous. I mean, this is a giant piece of property that they are coming through. They're doing the mass earthworks right now. They're leveling the whole place. This is the last little bit that they have. So these excavators all lined up here, loading the articulated trucks. They're pulling material from over here, and then they're placing over there with the loader, with the grader, with the dozers, with the rollers, and then with the water trucks. It's all sand, of course. So as they're placing the material, they're mixing water in there to get their compaction, and then all of this will be finish graded, fine graded for the eventual subdivision. Now, how do they know where to put the material and how much they've placed where? Well, we passed a guy out here with a quad bike and a rover. So they're using GPS to know where the elevation is, and then these guys are marking the fill areas with thousands of these stakes. Actually rebar, they use rebar here. Thousands of these stakes all the way across the surface to show that we are on grade. So with that, let's check out some earth moving. What can't Ben do?
I know, isn't he like 60?
Yeah.
63. So he's got his trekking pole and everything.
He just goes careening down it.
This enormous subdivision is part of the Damak Islands 2 project, a new residential community in Dubai. It's part of a master plan community built around artificial lagoons and island-style living. More than just houses, the development features extensive amenities, including waterfront promenades, crystal lagoons, landscaped parks, wellness areas, fitness zones, and water-centric recreational spaces, all designed to create a resort-like atmosphere. Completion and handover timelines for the development extend toward the end of the decade. Once we wrapped up, it was time to head back. However, before we returned to the hotel, we had one quick stop to make for some shopping. After viewing my future garage, we encountered a touch of traffic. Fortunately, the Sultan was waiting for us with a plentiful supply of food when we returned.
You want some food with that mayonnaise? Or? Golly.
It's actually butter.
It's butter.
Hey.
Wow.
Now we're talking.
Wow,
Look at that.
that was a move, man.
Disgusting.
For our final morning, we made our way to Al Marwan's Sharjah yard, where they have only a small portion of their total fleet standing by for customers in need. Rumor has it they even have a few big pushers.
Day 3, UAE. All of these machines, most of them are brand new, like that D11, or that D11, or that D11, or that D11, or that 988, or all these trucks, or all these dozers. This is their rental fleet. Everything is within 5 years old. They have 3,000 machines available, not just in UAE, but Saudi and in neighboring nations. They'll send these machines out anywhere for any kind of work whatsoever. So this D11 right here is ready to go. And if I were to put in an order and say, hey, I have a house I need to build and I need a really big dozer, they will send this out, they'll put it on a trailer, and it can go to work tomorrow. They're such big tractors, especially compared, like when you've got a D9 is not a small tractor, and yet it looks like a small tractor next to a D11. They're really impressive machines. It's not every day you just see a bunch of D11s sitting in a parking lot. And then since Al Marwan buys D11s like they're on sale in lots of 5 at a time, they've got not just one of these Centennial gray machines. Caterpillar, since they're 100 years old, they painted a select few of their machines battleship gray. This was the original color of Caterpillar before they switched to highway yellow, which then became the Caterpillar yellow, which is a trademarked yellow. Don't you dare take it. It's pretty cool to have one of these gray dozers, but they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them sitting here.
We actually have 30 units
30?
out of the 100 in the world.
30? How'd you work that one out? So they have 30, because why not, out of 100. And that is the other thing about these gray machines. They only made 100 gray ones of each machine. So they made 100 gray D8s at the Caterpillar facility in Peoria, Illinois, and they have 30 of them. Oh, this is made in Brazil. So the 11s were for sure made in the United States. These were from Brazil though. This is a Caterpillar D8, and this is a Caterpillar D11. A little bit different. And the D8's a big tractor.
D-row. D-row.
So in the Middle East, they reclaim a lot of land. There's reclaimed land everywhere. Like a lot of the Netherlands is reclaimed. There's all sorts of reclaimed land in Southeast Asia. A lot of airports are built on reclaimed land. Out here though is probably the most famous reclaimed land. Like the Palm Jumeirah, for example, is a giant island made up of reclaimed material, which means dredges come through, they suck it up from the bottom of the ocean, and then they push it out and build up land masses out of the water. As they do that though, they need to shape the earth, and that's when these tractors come in. These are D8s. They don't have a ripper on them. You don't need a ripper while you're dredging. Instead, they have this hitch just in case they need to pull stuff around. On the hitch, they have a steel cable that's permanently mounted because they oftentimes get buried. And when they get buried, you got to retrieve them. So you have this steel cable permanently mounted. You know it's a beach machine because it is covered in rust. That is a telltale sign it has been in salt water. And then of course, with the drone shot, you can see the life preserver on top, which means yes, it does work around water.
Unlike in the States, all machines here must have license plates for official registration. What I would do to see a D11 on the motorway.
They can use that also if you want to reach really, really high. When the high reach isn't enough, you've got a little extra reach.
You said it was what, 21 meters? 21 meter.
The 21 meter reach?
Yeah.
How high is that?
5 meters.
5 meters? And that's at 850?
Yeah. 85 foot.
So that machine, for you folks at home, it works in the water. The water, it can go, I mean, almost up to the machine, can it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can go past that platform. So it can work in almost 5 meters of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 to 5 meters of water. So that whole bottom beneath the house of the machine can be submerged in water while that machine is working, which is pretty sweet. They're usually, like most of the machines in the world like this, are out of the Netherlands. The Dutch love this kind of stuff, oftentimes for cable work, any kind of marine work, but they have endless marine work in the Middle East as well.
Now that we've seen the entire yard, we wanted to show you just how big a D11 really is. And what better way to do that than by parking a Tesla next to it?
Beautiful.
This is what I like. This is the stuff I've done for many years now. I was doing it early in the days with my Toyota Camry. I'm still doing it with people's Teslas that don't really want to do it. But someone's got to do it, you know?
Now that's what a D11 looks like next to a sedan, but what about another piece of heavy equipment? I mean, a real powerful heavy piece.
I haven't run a Bobcat in a while, so we'll see how this goes. Key. Seatbelt on for safety, since I am safety first. Parking brake off. I have not used one of these in so long. How do I unlock the hydraulics? There we go. Okay. We'll cut that part out. There we go. Now we're cooking. What the heck? Well, I stalled it. I stalled it. The cat would have gone a lot better. We're figuring it out. There we go. I got it. Don't worry. I got it first try. Should I move him out of the way myself? That's really good. I love breathing in excess dust. That concludes days 2 and 3 with Al Marwan here in the UAE. Before we wrap up, special thanks to channel sponsor Ariat. No matter where we go in the world, Ariat has me covered with the best boots of all time. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Stay dirty, everybody. Watch out, there's a water truck right behind you. Don't mind us.
That was
Trying to record a video.